Hey there, I'm Sarah Zarella, a portrait and wedding photographer and your host for Wedding Secrets Unveiled. This is a podcast where we cut through the complexity of wedding planning, leaving you with everything you need to know directly from the industry experts. If you want to simplify your wedding planning while having fun, of course, you came to the right place. Join me while I guide you through your planning, starting from your engagement to your big day when you say, I do. After photographing for over 20 years, I am sharing with you tips and tricks to cut through the excess noise. Because I believe from the moment you said yes, your planning experience should be a magical time in your life. Here you'll find episodes that are fun, stress-free, and straight to the point with a fresh, honest take on the reality of what you really need to know about planning your perfect day. Let's dive in. Welcome back to Wedding Secrets Unveiled podcast, friends. So today is part 2 of our 2-series episode with Casey Marak, who is the owner and founder of CK Collective. We are talking about how to be the good guest. If you are going to a wedding or you're hosting a wedding, this is definitely the podcast for you, and definitely share it with your friends. Actually, share the other episode that was on 2 weeks ago, because this is the second episode. There was so much information that we wanted to deliver to you all that we had to break it up in 2 episodes. We share a lot of great tips, and we unveil to you how to be a great guest along with a bridal party guest. So, if you have listened to episode number 1, get ready for part 2. All right, well, welcome back to Wedding Secrets Unveiled podcast, friends. I am your host, Sarah Zarella, and we are here for part 2 about how to be the good guest.
Amazing.
Welcome, Casey.
Thank you.
So for our listeners, if you have not listened to our last episode, stop here and go listen to Casey's first episode, and then this is part 2 of that. So, Casey, for our listeners, can you tell people who you are, who you serve, and what you do in your business?
Yeah, I'm Casey. I am the owner of CK Collective, a boutique wedding planning firm based in Rhode Island, servicing Rhode Island, Connecticut, Massachusetts, and wherever you want to go, wherever you want to bring us.
And what we will have is we will have in our episode show notes, we'll have all your information and a link to our original taping of part 1.
Yes.
So that way people can know a little bit more about you.
Absolutely. And part 1 kind of gave us the groundwork of before you arrive to the event, how to be a good guest. And I think today we can go into a little bit more details of during the wedding, during the day, and even post.
Yes, absolutely. All right. So we're just going to take it from where we kind of left off from last episode. So the reception.
Yes.
All right. You did all the stuff that we talked about earlier, RSVP'd correctly, was a nice guest during the ceremony, a good guest.
A good guest.
A good guest during the ceremony. Now it's time to celebrate. And we have cocktail hour. We got some possibly open bar going on. Talk to me about this open bar.
Well, as a host of a wedding, Sarah and I both feel very passionately about the subject. Having an open bar, unless it's for religious purposes, I think needs to be a standard if it's not already. But that also comes with some responsibilities as the guest. An open bar is not a marathon, and it is not a sprint. And it's not something that should be taken advantage of if you are maybe of the younger crowd or the crowd that likes to have a good time. Let's do it in moderation. I've had guests not make it through cocktail hour. I've had couples not make it through cocktail hour from being so drunk. It's bad. I've had recently one of the last weddings I had, one of the guests had to call himself an Uber before salads even got dropped. So don't get me wrong. Have a great time. Drink responsibly.
And also, too, keep your clothes on.
Keep your clothes on.
No, I'm not even kidding. Keep
Absolutely. Yeah, not even kidding. I wish that would be something that you and I would kid about, but nope. I will never forget this wedding. There was a date of somebody who was pretty significant to the parents of the bride. And that date did not have underwear on that day. And how do I know that? Because she was just spinning and spinning spinning on the dance floor, and her dress was just
going up and spinning and spinning. It was one of those like really cool like pleated dress. I loved it. But when you spun, it spun. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, good God, lady. Mm-hmm. So, but the point is open bar. It's not a marathon. You really shouldn't be doing shots at a wedding.
Absolutely not. Most venues, especially around us up here in New England, don't serve shots for good reason. And if you go up to the bar and are really trying to convince that bartender to serve you shots, he's simply doing his job. So let's not get upset or go tell the bride and the groom that, oh, the bartender won't serve me shots. Similar situation, if the bartender does have to cut you off, that doesn't mean you go up to the bride, the groom, or the family of the couple and say, the bartender, like, you have to do something, the bartender cut me off.
Yeah, so kind of going back to our first episode, I did share a little story about how I met my husband, and I have been not a good guest in my life. So this is like where we learn from our mistakes. Yeah. I was shut off at the bar that night.
No way.
Yes, because I told you I was working.
Yes, and you were playing catch up.
I was playing catch up, and the bartender, but I was a good guest because I was shut off, and I walked away, and I said, okay. That we're good here. I did not go and complain. I did not go. But I was shut off, and he was just doing his job because honestly, I needed to be shut off. But with that said, also too, when the bar does shut down, don't ask for another bottle or another drink. It is shut down because there's very strict laws, at least in Rhode Island, and we are here in Rhode Island, but I know there's extreme strict laws with licensing and liquor and catering companies.
Absolutely. And I think this also, well, I guess it doesn't go without saying, but I think another part of this that expands beyond the bar, let's just overall be adults and be responsible. The last thing that a bride wants to see if she's walking into the bathroom is you doing other substances at this wedding. First of all, it could cause legal issues with it being on premise or whatever it will. But I mean, long story short, don't do coke in the bathroom. Let's just let's cut that down. And if you're going to smoke cigarettes, cigars, or weed, you're going to come back into the space smelling as such. Maybe let's keep that to a minimum as well.
Fair.
You could cut that out if you want, but the amount of people that I see doing coke in bathrooms at weddings is horrible.
No, I'm keeping that on air. We're keeping this part too.
Great.
Great. I only laugh because I'm with you.
Yeah,
I'm with you. Listen, we're the sober ones. We see a lot going on. I'm with you. The other thing is too and just on a side note, some weddings have children at it.
Yes.
So you have to understand that I was at a wedding one time when they were doing it in the bathroom, and there was the little flower girl that came right in with mom, and it's not, you're not hanging out with your friends at a bar. It's a wedding where there's family members there.
Family, anything that you wouldn't want your grandmother to see you doing, then let's not do it at somebody else's wedding with their family members.
No. As far as, though, actually the reception portion, though, and dealing with drinks in the bar, the actual speeches, right, when that's happening, a lot of times the bar gets shut down during the speeches.
Yes.
But if it's not shut down, sit your ass down in that chair.
You can wait 10 minutes for a drink. I believe in you.
And also, too, if you are the person that's giving the speech, zip those speeches up.
Yes.
Let's tighten those speeches up. Let's not have them run long. But yes, you're right. You could sit down. And also, too, if the speeches are happening and the first course is plated, you're going to have to eat a little bit more quietly. I hate to say it. I mean, it sounds like we're like really like
say the rules of being a guest.
But it's just, I hope there's a lot of these things you guys have probably already thought about, but I'm sure there's a couple little things you're like, ooh, okay. Like, so just eat a little bit quieter because the speeches are going on.
Right.
And it's really loud. And I could tell you that there's been many times where I've seen my couples and they have that feeling of like defeat on them because they can hear guests talking or their room's very loud. And, for them, this is like they've dreamed about that. They can't wait to see what their best friend says about them or their father's blessing them or their mother. It's tough. It's tough to watch my couples struggle with their loud guests.
Absolutely. And the last thing you want to be hearing is a bunch of people like shushing everybody in the room when you're trying to listen to a speech.
Yeah, and don't yell during the speeches. This is not...
Yeah, your 2 cents is not needed here.
No.
If it was, we would have asked you to do a speech.
And also, too, little nugget of advice. If you are giving a speech, please don't read off your cell phones.
Oh, please don't.
And if you are a bride and groom or a couple getting married, do not read your vows off your cell phones. This is the whole thing that goes back to our episode number 1 when we talked about how to be a good guest during the ceremony and putting those phones away. Cell phones date pictures, okay? What your iPhone looks like right now will not be what your iPhone looks like in 2 years. Instantly dates it, and then it puts this weird reflection light on your pictures. Also, too, as a photographer, you look silly in a still image reading off, just looking down at a phone. Old-fashioned paper. Listen, I know we're on trend. I know we're a technical age, but pen and paper, speech.
Absolutely. Similar situation, too, with the ceremony, with a big moment like first dance. Try to put your phone away. Honestly, don't even try, just put it away. The last thing that the bride and groom is going to want to do is see a wide shot of their first dance and everybody circling the dance floor has a phone on their hand or has their flash on and is ruining the photography and videography lighting as well.
I know. Casey, I struggle with this a little bit as far as phones go. It's difficult because I know how important pictures are nowadays,
right.
and you know, people are on TikTok and Instagram, and we're just in a very interesting digital world, and kind of like if people who have listened to episode 1, what you talked about in the opening of why you started your business, you know, it's just you're catering to make people's dreams come true that they see online. I struggle because we are in that age, but your one phone is 150 other phones in the room.
Exactly.
So I as a photographer who's visually connected to the wedding, I really struggle with this because it is always someone's phone. It's difficult because it looks terrible, and also too, you're not in the moment.
Exactly. And that's something that I think a lot of people are trying to kind of bring back and connect back to the fact that you're not in the moment when you're taking all these pictures and videos, and you're not experiencing it with everybody else. So I think, honestly, a wedding is a great time to practice. Practice disconnecting a little bit, really taking in the moment, because you're going to get professional pictures and videos of it after the wedding anyway.
Yeah, and like I get, and I'm going to insult a lot of people right now, and I don't know, that's okay, I guess. It's not okay. I don't know, you know that line where they're like, no offense, but.
Yeah.
No, and you're like, oh, great, here we go, what you got for me? No offense, but. I don't know who you are, but, okay, you're not the bride, or you're not the groom, or you're not the couple. Mm-hmm. You're just a guest. You're not the influencer today.
Correct.
So I don't know who, just stop.
Yes.
Stop.
Yeah.
There is this thing going on right now where you could actually hire people.
A content creator. Yeah, it's huge. People have been doing it also, honestly, as a way to kind of avoid a more expensive videography cost. But, yeah, there are couples that hire a content creator in addition to their photography or videography package that they're either live posting on the bride's socials or the couple's socials during the event, or that's just going to be like a raw backlog of pictures and images on their phone that they can watch the next day.
Right. So we'll leave that there.
Yeah.
You can like it or not like it.
Yeah.
But if you just, we'll leave that there. We'll leave that on the shelf. You can think about that one.
As moral of the story, just be conscious about your phone.
Right.
As a guest.
I mean, I have a love-hate with this content trend that's happening, but I'm going to leave that on the shelf.
Especially as a photographer, I get that.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel yet about it. Like, it's just one of those things where I'm not against it. It's just the technique of it has to be honed in a little bit more. You know what it is? It's kind of like the wild web, the World Wide Web, right? When it first came out, like, it was like rogue, right? And it is. It's a rogue world we're in right now. Like, there's no rules on the internet, right?
Yeah.
And they haven't figured out how to tame it. There's no rules. It is what it is. It's kind of what's happening with the content creation that's going on there. I get why it's here. I just think that there has to be, we have to rule it in a little bit. There has to be
Absolutely.
some rules, some guidelines. It can interfere with a lot of moving parts.
Absolutely.
Anyway, so I'm going to leave that on the shelf. My point is, you are not the content creator that was hired.
No.
So I have a love-hate. I got a question too. It's like, the other thing is, in general, when I'm taking pictures of a couple, there is, let's say we're in Newport and we're on, a beautiful hotel, and there's members of the hotel looking, and they start taking pictures. Can somebody write into me or hit me up on Messenger and Instagram and tell me what you are doing with the pictures that you have randomly taken from a couple that you don't know and that you're just so in awe because you're so excited for them? I can understand looking at them, but what are you doing with those photos?
We see it a lot in Newport, especially because there's a lot of tourism in Newport. And if you're out taking pictures down by the wharf or along the streets of the mansion where there is a lot of tourism, like, of course, yes, people are going to see you, but I believe it's a little uncomfortable of some random stranger taking photos of me in very, emotional moments. What are you doing with those pictures? Just delete them. Just keep walking. Say congratulations and keep walking. You don't need to take a picture of random people that are having the best day of their lives.
I know. But with that said, going back to photos, there is a professional photographer there. And I have so much respect that there's content creation and you want things for your behind the scenes. And what the professional photographer is doing is a totally different thing than what's happening for, the instant gratification and the reels and the uploads. However, respect that there is a videographer and photographer there, and just don't get in their way.
Absolutely.
And also too, when that time is happening, so here's the other thing, right? So as a photographer on your wedding, on a wedding, I am so down with taking pictures of other people. I will do whatever you want. If you are a guest and you are feeling fabulous and you look fabulous and you want a professional picture of you and your date, or you and your husband, or you and your wife, or you and your family members, or your besties that you haven't seen, by all means, ask me. However, there is a time and place to do that.
Absolutely.
If you see that I am photographing the first dance or speeches, or if you see that I am photographing the couple or the couple's family, please do not ask me at that point. But by no means, any photographer should be open and willing to take any pictures that you want at any point of the night, but just make sure it's when they have their camera down on their sides and they're just standing around not doing anything. And that happens quite a bit during the day.
Yeah.
So you can
There's plenty of opportunities.
There's plenty of opportunities. So just be conscious. And also, too, if you are a guest and you are a photographer,
leave your DSLR at home.
Yes.
That one always
This is
gets
not a portfolio booster day.
No. Uncle, you can leave your big camera at home.
I honestly, though, Casey, I'm starting to see it a lot from other photographers. They're using my poses as their portfolio day. Yeah. Which is you're just in my way.
Yeah, you are. And I'm the one getting paid for this, so take the day off.
Also, too, don't hassle the photographer. So what I mean by that is, if we are during cocktail hour taking your photos or going up to your table, I get that so many people are camera shy. They don't want to be the center of attention. This is the one day you just smile, let us take the picture. Most likely the reason why we're doing this is because it has been requested from the couple who has hired us, and we're just doing our job. And honestly, the couple just loves you and they just want a picture of you.
Right. And I think the same goes from my point of view as the planner. If a planner or coordinator, whoever it may be, is asking you to either step aside for some reason or come back inside, even though there's a beautiful sunset going on that you really want to take a picture with your girlfriend for, there's a reason behind it. And similar thing, if we're asking you to come inside, respectfully abide.
Oh, yeah. Like if we're in cocktail hour and it's time now to bring you guys inside the reception room, go. And or if we're if you're outside doing a sunset photo, because the sunset is epic and it's time to cut the cake, and the event coordinator comes out or planner says, "Can you come inside?" Just come inside. We're not trying to be rude. Just the bride and groom are by them lonesomes.
Literally, that is a whole other thing though that guests don't realize. When if you're taking the bride and groom off the dance floor, or if you and all of your friends are going to see we face the sunset a lot in Newport over here. It's a major pain point for getting guests to come back inside. But if you all want to go do something elsewhere, just keep in mind that you're leaving the couple by themselves, first of all. And second of all, if you're encouraging people to not be on the dance floor, that's more and more people are going to come off the dance floor and go whatever. If you guys are all sitting at the bar or going outside for a cigar, whatever it may be, that's less people on the dance floor with the bride and groom. So just try to be cognizant of the fact that you want them to still enjoy their experience and you want to be present for them.
Yeah, and also, too, like a lot of these tips that we're telling you today, it's not like you're going to remember them or take record of them or like jot them down. But it's just one of those things like you're going to have that aha moment when it or if it happens. And it's funny because a lot of you will think about us talking right now because you'll be at a wedding and you'll see something. You're like, oh, that's what Casey and Sarah are talking about. Yep. Like, here's another one, right? Clicking of the glasses. Ooh. You know that whole trend of like, you know, click, click, click. And well, I don't want to keep saying bride and groom because we have a lot of other couples. Right. But the couples kiss. As a photographer, I actually don't mind that because you know what that allows me to do? I can strategically, I hear the clicking. I'm like, ooh, they're about to kiss. I can photograph. It's a great opportunity for me to photograph my couple at their sweetheart table kissing, or I can sometimes get like a really cool perspective behind them and like get that wide shot of the room, and then everybody's clapping and clicking and the glasses and the couple kisses. But most of the time, it's annoying for the couple.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think there's a time and a place, maybe once. If somebody starts it once, great. We don't need to do it every 10 minutes.
No.
Nope, we don't.
So, Casey, the other thing, too, and I kind of hijacked this a little bit, but it has to do with photography, right, is when you just said have people enter the room, if you're a guest and you see the place cards or the seating chart and you know where you're supposed to be sitting, please do not sit there or go in the room or leave your stuff, or if it happens to be like a tent and you can see, you have access to it. It's really important to understand that to be a good guest, stay in the cocktail hour and your belongings. And I'll tell you why. This one I could tell you a reason why is their photographer most likely has to do their room shots. And what that means is the couple has spent a significant amount of money on their wedding, on their decor, and they need photos. So we don't need your purse. We don't need your bags. We don't need you messing around with the place settings. This is a very important time for photographers because it is the only time that we're able to capture so much significance of planning and finances. I mean, that room is their financial expense.
For sure.
Yeah.
And they want the detail shots of it. And, of course, if there's a circumstance that you need to put something down, just come and ask anybody at the venue or a coordinator or the planner. We're happy to put your stuff somewhere in the meantime while you enjoy cocktail hour, but to get those room shots and to really get the details in such a short turnaround too before guests are invited into the reception space, just keep them with you for now.
All right, Casey, so we are going to take a short break, and then when we come back, we're going to start diving into a little bit about how it would be a good guest that happens to be in the bridal party.
In the bridal party, you're still a guest.
And a couple of other little tips that we've left out about how to be a good guest.
All right.
I appreciate you being here. And hey, if you like what you're hearing, I encourage you to check out our website at sarahzarella.com. And don't forget, you can actually subscribe to this podcast wherever you're listening so you never miss an episode. And I would so appreciate if you left a fabulous review on Apple Podcast. Even better, share it with a friend. It's a great way to show your support. And now, let's get back to the episode. Well, welcome back to Wedding Secrets Unveiled podcast, friends. So before the break, we were going into episode 2 of how to be a good guest. And I would love Casey to kind of get into bridal party, how to be a good guest. But before we do, a couple of other things that I think we left out is at the reception, run me through a little bit to do with maybe just vendors.
Yeah, I think there is a few little tidbits that will give you that you wouldn't have probably thought of as not being in the industry. But one of those, for example, is with the DJ or the band. So the 9 out of 10 times, the DJ will ask the couple for a must playlist, a do not playlist, and just general dinner songs that they would like heard. If you love Pitbull, you love Fireball, you really need that song played, if the DJ takes your request and does not get around to it, don't go up and haunt them to keep playing it. Chances are it could have been on the do not play list. The bride and groom might have specified, or the couple might have specified do not take requests from guests. Just be respectful about it. If it's on the list and they're able to play it, they will. But it comes back down to the point of that it's not your day, it's not your Spotify up there.
And again, kind of like what you said, we do not expect people to even know these things because they don't work in the industry.
Of course.
So we're just helping you as far as the vendors go. But if you do see your vendors sitting down and eating a meal, I'm not saying if you see them sitting, because if they're just sitting, maybe they're just sitting for a hot second, take a break. But if you actually see them eating their meal, just leave them be for a hot second. Because as a vendor, just so you know, we get like 10 minutes. If that, to even eat our meal. And most of us have been on location for all day, or if not, many, many hours more than you think, because we're here for setup or breakdown. So if you just see the vendors eating the meal, just leave them be for a hot second as a guest. And also, too, I have a photo booth company, Rock Your Booth. So as a photo booth company, if there's props in the photo booth, leave them there. But it's okay if you want to have some fun and you want to take them, bring them back. Because a lot of times those are actually may have been bought by the couple, or they are they may have been special request for the couple, and so they're just there for the photo booth.
Photo booth comes with its own. I mean, I don't want to keep saying etiquette because it really is, being an adult and well-mannered, but the photo booth, for example, the couple receives every single one of those pictures. So just keep that in mind when you're posing or doing whatever it may be, that those pictures will be dispersed. And I'll leave it at that.
Yes, fair. All right. So let's move right into bridal party. So I think a great starting place would be getting ready.
Yes, definitely. I think your goal in the bridal party is to make sure your bride or groom, whatever side of the bridal party you're on or whatever it may be, is stress-free. So however that relates to you, whatever you could do to ensure that situation. For example, if your hair and makeup is all done and your hair and makeup artist is on to the next person, but you're really not liking how that blush looks, you just take care of that elsewhere. Let's not derail the whole timeline of hair and makeup or let on to the fact that you're self-conscious or stressed about something. If it's something that you can handle on your own, just don't let, your friends notice that you're a little upset or whatever it may be. Just handle that off to the side, because a good thing to keep in mind is that no one is paying as much attention to those little details like you are, and they should be paying attention to the couple anyway.
Right. And also, too, that kind of just leads into a little bit about if you have a preferred side.
Yes.
That you like. Or, we all do.
All do.
You're second.
Yes.
To your girl.
I think that's the biggest thing, yeah. And even though you are in the wedding party and have that role title per se, that doesn't mean that you hold any more importance or significance or priority in the day. That is, you're there to support your friends and your loved ones. Just because you have a title, bridesmaid, whatever it may be, doesn't mean that you are higher up on the priority list than anybody else. I think that's a good point to differentiate between when you are in the wedding party, you are still a guest.
So on the guy's side,
mm-hmm.
That there's a lot more alcohol consumption normally happening on that side. There's always exceptions to the norm. So it's just get him to the chapel.
Get him to the chapel on time. No, it's real. And I think a lot of times wedding party in particular can get so caught up in it that if you're in the wedding party, I assume it's your very close relative that you're, either your best friend or sibling, cousin, whatever it may be. So, of course, you're so excited. You've been waiting for this day. There's there's things we got to get done, and we need to be on our functioning behavior at least.
Fair.
Like, I'd at least be functioning and in good spirits and vertical.
And if you are somebody who's listening to this and, you know, your girl or your best guy friend sent this your way to listen, most of the time the couple has not – there's a lot of nerves happening. So they have a sensitive stomach. So they may have not ate as much as they normally do, or they're just a little nervous. So feeding them alcohol, like – saying, "Oh, have a glass of champagne." You might think that that's helping them, but it's reverse. Having them say, like, "Have you ate yet today?" or doing that. I'm not talking about the party. Let them have whatever they want to do. They're adults. Let them do whatever they want to do at the party. I'm talking about getting ready in the bridal suite.
Yeah.
That 1 or 2 glasses of champagne. Again, I'm not saying not to have champagne, but you know your girl. Yes. All right. So if you know that she might be a lightweight, that 1 glass of champagne might just make her a little bit, you know?
There's no pressure to – however you want to celebrate is how you want to celebrate. You don't need to assume that because it's the morning we need a mimosa. And you know what, Casey? I'm not trying to be the alcohol police here. Listen, we are all going to have a good time and drink. I'm just saying, like, if your girl is feeling – like, if you understand it's not a race, it's a marathon. It is.
You have a whole day. So just you know, watch her. Make sure she's gone to the bathroom. Make sure she's, you know, has ate. Be a good bridesmaid. Be a good guest. As far as alcohol goes, offering kind of a little like side note. Your vendor should not be drinking.
Absolutely not.
Okay, so we all drink. We all have a good time. We're here to work. Your vendor should not be drinking. So, and I get it. Like, you know, you just want – it's a good day. You like your vendors. You want them everyone to have a good time. Offering the vendors a drink, I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that. Like, I mean, we're going to say – if we're professional, we're going to say no. There's nothing wrong with that. It's the push.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I've had a few instances of this, and – don't get us wrong. We know that you're coming from a place of enjoy yourself. Thank you so much for all your work. It's coming from a place of love and appreciation. Absolutely. But even maybe reframe it in your own head. If you're at a meeting and, you know, you work a corporate job, for example, and you're presenting and somebody comes in and, no, have this tequila soda. Please, no, have it. You're, like I said, we know you're coming from a place of respect and care and appreciation, but chances are, if you are professional, you're going to say no. And if you're then guilting kind of into it, I've had a family, they had homemade limoncello from their family in Italy. And we got it's disrespectful to not try. And you also don't know what that vendor is going through. What if they're, you know, pregnant and haven't announced? What if they're sober? What if they have a bad relationship with alcohol? It comes from a place of love, of course, but just know that you're 99% of the time your vendors aren't going to say yes. Don't take offense to it. We're at work. If it was a Thursday at 1:30 in a meeting, we wouldn't be either.
I do have to say one thing, and this is not a tip about how to be a good guest, but how many times have you been asked, like your wait staff, like if you can get someone a drink? Have you ever been asked? Maybe not, because you don't. You
like if I could get.
Yeah, like because I wear all black.
My God, yes, I am always. Okay, this is a good one actually about being a good guest. If you're asking a vendor for something that's not in their wheelhouse, so for example, if you're asking Sarah what time cake cutting is, she'll know because there's a timeline involved, of course, but. For example, don't ask your photographer or your wedding planner or your videographer, whoever it may be, if they can have a glass of wine. If you can, I dropped my fork. Can I have another fork? We'll go get somebody to ask for that for you, but also don't get offended that we're not the ones going to refill your glass of wine here. We have other responsibilities. So I think that's another important thing as a guest. The vendors at the wedding are there for the bride and the groom, and they are not your personal assistants.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get offended if someone asks me like where the bathroom is or if I can get a glass. I was just if I can get them like a glass of water. I was just wondering, like, how many times are you asked that?
24/7, literally 24/7.
I take it as a compliment though, because then I realize I'm blending in.
Yeah,
and I'm just because I don't want to stand out being the photographer at all. I will say though, And these are just like the majority of the tips that we gave you. Those happen much more than you think. But just on a side note, this is not any tips about how to be a good guest, because this is a one-off shot, and these people just got problems, if they're doing this. But I did have somebody get really upset at me that I was not taking pictures with their phones.
Are you kidding?
No, that's what I mean by like I don't even want to put it down as like a tip here. It's just because it was a one-time deal. Right. But like literally, I had like this group of friends, and they wanted me, and I don't mind taking iPhone photos with them every now and then. But like I was about to get ready for the couple to cut their cake. I mean, it was time, and I was standing up there, and they're like, "Oh, can you take a quick picture?" I'm like, "I can't right now."
Right.
And they got mad at me. I'm like, I'm about to do my job.
My literal job.
My literal job.
I do have a story to share, actually, especially around the whole alcohol bar cutting off situation and how to approach that, or I guess how not to approach that as a guest. I had a guest at a very high-end wedding that got cut off from the bar and decided that that was solely my fault as the wedding planner. Now, as we mentioned, liquor license is the venue. That's not me. You getting cut off, also not me. And so this uncle of the couple was very intoxicated and very upset that he couldn't get his last whiskey on the rocks before the end of the night. And neither could his brother, who is the father of the couple. Despite how close you are to the couple, how much this event costs, there's no working around the end of a bar. So you coming over to me as drunk uncle that wanted one more glass, and my brother paid so much for this wedding, you're not going to let him have his last glass of wine, making a scene in the middle of the reception. We understand that we are there as the vendors to help, and we are providing a service, but some respect, especially when there's things that we can't control. So I can't control that the bar ended at 10:30 and you didn't get your last glass of bourbon on the rocks, but that also doesn't mean that you have to raise your voice and demand and expect that we can just bend the rules for whoever it may be.
The other thing, Casey, is as a bridesmaid, and it happens the same thing with groomsmen, the wedding is not the forefront of your brain like it is for the couple. So a lot of times you go pick up your rental or you go pick up your dress and you don't try it on. You definitely just try it on. The seamstress could have missed something. Something Absolutely. Could have had a mess up, especially if you got pregnant or lost a significant amount of weight. Just make sure that leading into the day, you put that outfit on, bent down, pick things up, because buttons can snap. Because I have seen it a lot more than people think, where the attention automatically goes on to the bridesmaid. They don't even mean it. I mean,
of course.
But it just happens, and it just elevates the stress right before the ceremony.
Yeah, I think with being in the wedding party comes the responsibility of making sure that you have everything that you need to be as self-sufficient as possible, because your purpose is to be there to be with the couple and helping and assisting them and making sure they have the best day. So you don't ever want to feel like you are taking away from them. Another thing for bridesmaids, to make sure that you have everything that you'll need for the day of. Make sure that you steamed your dress prior. Of course, especially I frequently, as a wedding coordinator, will help finish steaming things, but steam your dress beforehand. Have everything that you need, a bag packed, ready to go. Then also when you're leaving wherever you're getting ready, make sure you have all of your things packed back up. You don't leave anything for the last minute, just because then if it then becomes a problem, you don't want to be the one holding up the trolley or needing a bunch of stuff or taking away from the couple.
I do have to say, on a side note, one little piece of advice, a little nugget I can give you guys, a little secret to unveil to you, is, it could be really helpful is and just coming from a photographer or and correct me if I'm wrong, maybe an event planner standpoint, is if you feel that you are like one of those types of people that you're a helper or doer and you just want to look after your girl, instead of being vocal up front, it's okay to go to the photographer or the wedding planner and just say, what can I do to help you?
Absolutely.
And a lot of times when people ask me that, I say, you know what you can really do to help me? And I have something that's in that moment. Like, and one thing I can say is like helping me keep things on time and moving along. Because they are the inside crew, they could easily, in a subtle way, just be like, okay, guys, like, let's just go grab everything and let's go. So it's, if you are, and so this is not so much about how to be a good guest. It's just like, you want a little tip. It's okay to turn to the coordinator or the photographer that's there all day with you guys and just say, what can I do to help?
Absolutely. And we appreciate it. And we would never feel like that's overstepping or more of a burden. It's great to know that the people that we are helping and providing a service to are not only like appreciative, but willing to work with us too instead of against us. And
on a side note, if you are opinionated about the pictures and where the pictures need to be photographed, please don't say it out loud in front of the couple.
That goes with anything too, even flowers, dresses in general. If there's something that you see is off, don't go right to the couple. If there's a coordinator there, go to them first. If it's the photography, whatever it may be, go to somebody else before putting something in the couple's head that they have to then stress about.
Yes. Like a common thing for me, right, is we live in the Ocean State, so we're right on the water. And a lot of times I'll have a bridesmaid say, why are you taking the pictures over there by the water? And there could be listen, I know we want water pictures, people. Now, I understand that maybe they're used to some people who are amateurs and maybe they don't understand that I am a true professional. And I get that. So that's why you got to – if don't keep it to yourself, because what if there is a reason that photographer is just blanked? But if you're dealing with someone like myself, there's a reason. It could be the fact that we're not there yet. We're not on the list yet. We are waiting for a different lighting scenario. So all I'm saying is there's nothing wrong with what your thoughts are. Just say your thoughts on a side, not in front of, because I've seen it so many times where someone will say, why aren't we doing that? And then instantly I'll see the body language of my couple, and they're worried or that we are not, and we're going to get to that.
Of course.
It's just, it doesn't, that we're just
we're
not there
probably yet. On it, and if in, 5-10 minutes we're not, then come to us. Just don't go to the couple.
Well, our time has came to an end.
I could sit here and talk for days, so kick me out.
Casey, we'll have you back on.
Oh, fabulous.
Yes,
I'll be here.
We will have you back on. There's many subjects we can talk about. And also, too, for our listeners, if you have any subjects that you would like us to talk about, please write into the show. I am the one on my Instagram. I am the one on my email. Feel free to reach out to me at any point. But with that said, it is time for our wrap-up question on our 2-part series of How to Be a Good Guest. So, Casey, what are some key points that our couples could be letting their guests know, or AKA showing this episode, or not showing, but sending this episode to their guest to be a good guest?
I think the number one key takeaway is that you are there to celebrate this couple. Be present, be prepared, be excited, bring the excitement. The way the guests behave and participate in the day really does make or break the day for the couple. They want your participation. They want you present. Keep the phones away. Anytime you have a question, 3 before me. Try to avoid putting any more burden on the couple as much as possible. A few other key takeaways just from things that we've spoke about. Let's just keep in mind that it's a long day, it's a long night. Just because there's an open bar doesn't mean that we need to be taking full advantage of it or be taking too much advantage of it. Let's pace ourselves at the bar. We don't want to be a liability on that front. Please respect when vendors are asking you to either do things or just in general, keep in mind that vendors are there to work. We are there to ensure the day runs smoothly. If you need something, we're not getting to it right away. It's just because there's something that the couple needs. And we're also not there to, sadly, we're not there to join in on the party. So we'll be declining any drinks or food, which thank you so much for offering. But we're there for work, and we're not going to come into your office and convince you to get drunk on a Tuesday. So,
it's much fun, though.
Yes, it is. But it's our place of work, and realize that it's our profession, and we are there to work, but we are there as well to make sure that you're having the best time. So enjoy for us.
We're there to cheer you on.
Absolutely.
You have a drink for us.
Yes.
So with that, I want to thank you so much for joining me on this week's episode of Wedding Secrets Unveiled. You helped our listeners become one step closer to their journey of a stress-free wedding planning. Can you tell everybody where they could find you?
Yeah, so our Instagram will be in the show notes, as Sarah mentioned. It's c.k.collective_. A lot going on that Instagram, but our website, ckcollectiveevents.com.
For our listeners, we will have Casey's information on our episode show notes, which you can find on our blog and our website page at sarahzarella.com/podcast. Thank you for listening to Wedding Secrets Unveiled. I appreciate you being here. And hey, if you enjoyed this episode, I want to tell you something. I encourage you to check out our website at sarahzarella.com. We love photographing while having fun, of course. Check out our podcast page on our website for our show notes along with upcoming episodes with your local wedding experts. Listen in as we help you plan your epic event. And don't forget that you can actually subscribe to this podcast wherever you are listening so you never miss an episode. I would so appreciate if you left a review for us on Apple Podcasts. Even better, share it with a friend. It's a great way to show your support and let us know what you think. If you know any wedding experts that would like to be a guest, we have a link directly on our website where they can let us know. Thank you for listening.